Do you guys like the new setup? Isn't it beautiful? It was just this, and then boom! I'm happy to be back. I got more books. I got more stuff. I got some really cool stuff. A lot of this are just new books because right over there is my monthly fairy loot. I'm a part of the young adult and romantasy series. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was chosen. I was one of the favorites. The second they posted it last year, we're doing romantasy subscription. Sign up now. I'm like, yes, ma'am. And there I was. And then I got an invitation and here we are and I'm a part of it. I've gotten 2 books so far. I haven't read them, but I'm making it a goal to read the books I get from my subscriptions because I've been finding a lot of cool books. I've been reading some books outside my normal genres and I have been loving it. I feel like I've been finding more books that I like and relate to, and I hope to keep finding new books. So if you guys have any cool recommendations that are not romantasy, I am 100% down. I just read an amazing horror film that once I get my exclusive edition, I'm going to go hard. It was one of my favorite reads so far. I know the year is already almost like halfway done, and I have like 5 books that I thought were amazing and I want to do reviews for all of them. I recommend them. I went through such a huge reading slump after I read the disaster that was Crescent City 3. Fucking hated that book. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was garbage. Were there moments in it that I loved? Absolutely. There's a couple great moments. Bryce's character went straight down into the garbage and I couldn't stand her. The best part though was Nesta. And I know everyone's like, it's because you wish it was an ACOTAR book. It doesn't matter if it was an ACOTAR book or not. She was so good. Bryce saw Nesta as a warrior and not some like, oh my gosh, when she's like, someone came out with her fighting leathers and I instantly knew her warrior and apex predator. I'm like, that's right, that's my girl. And she ain't here to come and play. After fucking Silver Linings, or Silver Linings, after Silver Flames, she's walking around not in dresses, but in fighting leathers because she knows shit's about to go down and once you stay ready, you don't even gotta get ready. So, you know I'm a huge Nesta stan. It was great. Loved it. The rest of the book, I loved Rune. Always loved Rune. He's my favorite. I didn't realize him and I had the same haircut. I had my head shaved for a couple years now. And so when I was reading his description in Crescent City in the first one, I'm like, is this me? Am I him? I could be him. I'm okay with being him. But anyway, let's get into the bulk of things because I think I'm just rambling at this point because I've had a cocktail. Started probably 40 books this year. I try to aim for 4 to 5 books a month, but things happen, when be working full time, being a mom, and my kids have extracurricular activities and just other obligations. Sometimes it's not always feasible to read all that, but I've started a ton of books and I've finished 12 because I feel like I can't find something that it truly speaks to me. Or I saw this guy say like there's millions and millions and millions of books and you're never going to be able to read them. If you're not feeling it, just drop it and go to something else because we don't got time to fuck around. So I've been doing that. But one of the books that I got that I fell in love with is Bonesmith. I got this in my fairy loot box. And it is sprayed edge because we all know me. I'm a sprayed edge queen. I will buy any book that is sprayed edge. It's beautiful all around. I think I might have opened this box. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. This is Run. This book is something completely different than what I've read before. It's about... The best way to explain this book is this world was broken down into territories because each territory there was someone that had powers over the type of elements there. So anywhere that was enriched with iron, they had ironsmith and they could bend iron and make iron and like enchant it. There's people that can do the same thing with wood, water, any type of elements, but her territory was bones. And what they do is they pair a Valkyrie and a Reaper. And a Valkyrie is supposed to kill and protect the Reaper, while the Reaper goes and finds spirits. So they go and find spirits, and they have to find the anchor bone for the spirit so they can rest in peace. And the Reaper can take their sickle, and they'll cut the spirit from the anchor bone and put them to rest. There are different types of tiers of ghosts. There's 1 through 5, 5 being the most severe. And Ren, I think she's 16, 17, the typical age of these young heroines. This book starts off with her trusting out to become a Valkyrie, and she has to be with a Reaper, and the goal is to go into these haunted woods and get 3 anchor bones. And they didn't tell her, like, it has to be 3 level 2, 3 level 5s. You just got to find 3 anchor bones, put the ghost to rest, be back here by a certain time. And so she's off with her Reaper, and they are going through higher tiers, and the most highest tier she's seen is a 2 or 3, and she can kick ass. She is amazing in this book. She's probably one of my favorite new female characters. She does not care. She's badass. She's fearless. She says what's on her mind, and I really liked her a lot. So she is doing this she's doing this tryout when her Reaper betrays her and starts working with another person. And so she gets abandoned, and when she gets abandoned, she falls in through this hole, and she goes many feet, yards into the ground, and she finds this ring. She finds a ring that's made out of iron and wood, and it has a spike on it, and she doesn't know what it is, so she pockets it, and she has to fight ghosts on her way out. And when by the time the competition ends, she doesn't have a Reaper. She shows up late, and she tries to voice her opinion, or her, like, what happened, why she was late, what happened. She was betrayed. She fell in this hole, and her grandmother, who is the leader of their faction or whatever, they call her like High Bonesmith, or it doesn't fucking matter. Their lady, the high lady of their territory is her grandmother, and her grandmother hates her and says, you're late, you're a disgrace, and you should have done better. And because of that, you're being exiled, because I can't have my territory weak because of my own bloodline, and you're an embarrassment. So she gets shipped off to this wall, and her father, who's also the son of this grandmother, he comes to her and it's like, I'm so sorry, but you have to go and, like, prove yourself. And once you prove yourself, you can come back here and be a Valkyrie. So she has to go to the wall that divides their territories. This king, who we don't see, I don't remember seeing the king. It doesn't matter. Built a wall, and I'll show you the map. He built this big wall down here, and this is where Ren's up here in this forest, in the Bone Lands. And down here are the Ghostsmiths and the Ironsmiths, and they are forbidden. Why? Only God knows. They explain something. It doesn't matter. There's 2 Romeos and Juliets. Anyway, so she has to go on border patrol, essentially, and try and prove herself. And when she's there, she meets one of her dad's old friends and allies, and she takes her under the wing and shows her how to be a proper bonesmith. And when she takes her down there, months go by, and there's an announcement that one of the princes, because the king has many sons, and a prince is being shipped down there for, like, some, like, pretty much like a meet and greet. Like, he doesn't have any real reason. He's just a spoiled prince who we love. His name is Leo, and he is sassy and fun and drunk, and I loved him. He is so great. His character, he plays a dumb boy, and he plays it well, but he's also he's so smart in how he plays that dumb boy role. And I loved Leo. He was great. I loved his quick wit, his sass. I loved him. She meets him, and they instantly become friends, and they sneak around together. And the next day, they had to go look at the border wall together, and the prince was going to go. And while they were going down there, they got ambushed by Ironsmiths, by the hot Julian. Julian is also their age. All these kids are the same age. They're maybe a year or 2 apart, but they're that, like, 16, 19-year-old. That's how that always is in these books. The Ironsmith is sent to get Prince Leo, and they get into a scrabble and they're kind of fighting until they do end up kidnapping Leo. And the bonesmith, Hot Julian, and Ren go down this crevice together because the ironsmiths betrayed Julian and tried to shoot him. And they did. And they faked falling down this crevice into this ravine, and Ren actually saves him. So his people think that he's dead and they ride off without him. And so now they realize they have to work together to go back and get the prince, because she thinks if she can save the prince, she can prove herself worthy and she can go back to the Bone Lands. And Julian obviously wants to know who the fuck shot him? Why? Who betrayed him? He wants to know what is going on, because he was sent on a mission, get the prince. And then apparently his friends were like, get the prince and kill Julian. So they spend majority of this book working beyond the wall. She's never been beyond the wall before, and she's been told all these horrible things of things that are behind the wall. These tier 5 ghosts that you can't kill. And she encounters them, that she learns that everything she's been told beyond the wall is a lie. Yes, I know that is an overdone trope. That's such an overdone trope. It happened with Akatar. It happened with what's this slut's name? Give me a second. It happened with From Blood and Ash. That is a common trope, but I feel like this was really explained well. Oh, it also happened it makes me think of Throne of Glass, when Kale was all like told everything he was been told his entire life is a lie. So I understand that is also an overdone premise, but I feel like this author did a really good job of explaining it, and I enjoyed this book. So she's killing bigger tier ghosts, and they're the level of difficulty, it's weird because they're stranger and stronger spirits. But Julian has been around them his entire life because he's been banished to the other side of the wall. And he's like, if you don't interact with them, they're not going to mess with you. They only mess with you when you get angry and try to hurt them. And so she learns to avoid that. They find this mountain, and inside there's a cave. And inside the cave is this lost city and it's abandoned. There's houses and streets and columns. And they decide to stay the night over there. And when she sees a boy who's I think she said about her age, maybe a little bit younger, leading an army of these dead ghosts. And in these obviously they're dead ghosts, leading these spirits. And these spirits are wearing iron. And it was weird because, you're not like there's no iron on, so clearly someone's bringing back, so what they were doing is they were bringing back bodies. They were using bodies, and they're putting spirits in those bodies. And then they put iron around the bodies. One of the things about being a bonesmith is their weapons are bones. So in this book, her swords are made out of bones. Her protection's bones. She has like a skull right here. I think it shows you. Yeah, she has a skull as a shoulder plate. Like everything she has is bones. She throws knuckle bones at people as a distraction. And she can also put ground up bone dust around her to protect her so the spirits can't come and get her. So when they see this happening, they follow the boy, and there's this ancient well that he puts bodies in, and the spirits go into the bodies, and then he puts iron onto the bodies, but he has to hit a certain point in the back of the head to attach the spirit to the body and the iron. And when Ren put her hand on the ground watching this scene where she's watching this guy put the bodies into this well with water and power, her hands touch the stone, and when her hands touch the stone, it goes up her. And she gets power. And no one knows if she got the power already, if she had the power to begin with, or she got it when she touched the stone. Because another big thing they're saying is if you're in your element, a place that's heavily enriched in your element, which is bones or iron, tin, any type of metal, your power is the strongest. So if she was in a graveyard, her power with bones is the strongest. She can feel bones, and she can make them rise. If they're just dead bones, she can make them rise, and she can manipulate the bones. And same with Julian, because he's an ironsmith. He can feel real iron and know where it's at, and he can also manipulate it and do things. So I don't know if she got the power from touching the ground, or she's in her element and she felt it. I'll explain that. She made a noise and got caught by the the kid dumping water in this fucking fountain of youth. And she has the guard, and he's like, seize her, go get her, an intruder. And they all come in, and for some fucking reason, that ring she found from earlier, she slides it on and tells the ghost demon remnant guys to stop, and they just dead ass stop. They just stop and look at her. And they obeyed her every command, and this guy comes up, the one again in the Fountain of Youth, points to her and points to the ring and reveals he has the same ring. And he points to the big bird and he points to himself. And then on the other side, there's a smaller bird and he points to her. And she's like, I don't know what that means. And decides to leave. She doesn't ask any questions. That's the only thing. I'm like, let's start asking some questions. Do you sprechen the English? Can we talk? Like, what language? Do we speak the same language? Why are we pointing? Did you lose your tongue? I know you didn't lose your tongue because you're just doing some chants to make this motherfucker become a zombie. So tell me, like, she just like, okay, let's go, and grabs Julian and they dip. Anyway. During their adventures, they do develop feelings for each other. They have a cute couple scenes together. And Ren is such a strong female character that she doesn't know how to be sweet and vulnerable with the guy. But she's truthful with him. And that's something that I appreciate. And Julian is starting to come around to her too. And they do manage to save Prince Leo. And he, again, is sassy and wonderful. And I love him. He was giving her shit the entire time. Like, I've been kidnapped for like 2 weeks and you're out here on some cute love quest. I'm out here getting my ass beat covered in dirt and you're over here just like kissing boys. Like, what are we doing? They do end up saving him. And you find out that Julian is the nephew of the guy who's running the ironsmith, because Julian is not yet of age because his dad got killed off by his uncle, his own brother, and you don't know that until later. And then Julian is supposed to wait until, I think he says 22 or like 20. Once he turns 20, then he can become of age and then he can rule the ironsmiths. But his uncle's doing it for some time, and you find out because he's going to turn 20 in a handful of weeks that his uncle was the one that told the people who Julian was traveling with to kill him. And so if you killed the heir and be like, oh my gosh, it was a tragic side quest and he died, may he live in honor, and then he gets to rule forever. During this quest, you find out that a lot of the locals on the other side of the wall where they're at keeps talking about a corpse queen who I already love her. She does not put up with shit. I love her. And you find out that she has been raising things from the dead. And she is one behind the putting the spirits back into bodies. And she's putting the spirits back in the body. And it's Julian's uncle who's running things. He's been providing the iron. He's been providing the iron. So they've been working together because what they want to do is build a revolution and take back the wall and go back and fight and earn their spot back over the wall because they've been banished. Which rightfully so. I get it. That's all we want to do. That's all Castile wanted to do from Blood and Ash. That's all we want to do. The corpse queen meets up with Julian's uncle and she said, you were supposed to bring me my Valkyrie and you didn't bring me it. You were supposed to bring me my Bonesmith and you didn't do it. And he's like, I'm sorry, she was compromised. And you find out she was talking about my girl Ren. Because, surprise, it's her mom. It's another fun trope we like to do around here called, oh, your parents have been dead since the beginning of the story, but they're really alive. She's the corpse queen. Did you guys see that coming? I saw it coming. But, whatever. Doesn't matter. So that means that little guy who's like, hey, I'm the big bird, you're little bird. That's her brother. So we don't know if he's good or bad. Since he didn't try and kill her on the spot, I'm going to go with good. We'll find out in the second book. Ren and Julian had this mixed emotions because he's like, my evil uncle's trying to take over my faction and lead my people. I need to go kick his ass. And then Ren's like, I have to go prove my glory and that I can save my people. I have to go back on the wall and go tell my grandmother and my father about all these horrible things. And Julian's like, I ain't doing that. There's no way. I'm going to go and try and save my people. And she needs I need to go save my people beyond the wall. And she ends up tricking him. She seduces him, she ends up seducing him and tying him up and like, I'm sorry, but I have to go do what's right. I'm taking the prince. I'm taking him back to this side of the wall. I'm going to go report what's going on because they saw a lot of horrible stuff and she wants to go report it. So he goes, she seduces him, ties him up. She's like, I'm sorry, but I did have feelings for you, but this is how things are supposed to be. And then he ends up hating her. Doesn't matter. Then her and my boy Leo go back to the wall, and as they're about to go back in the wall, and she's gonna be hailed a hero for saving the prince, Julian pops out of the fucking bushes, and he's like, we've been traveling together. She's with me. We've been together this whole time. So they, of course, beat the shit out of Julian because he's an ironsmith, lock him down in the basement. Leo and my girl Ren get locked up, and she has to tell her dad the truth about what's going on, but she has like this sick feeling about not telling him everything. Like there's just something about, she's like, I can't trust him. So she tells him things, and he's like, oh, thank you for your candor. I'm going to lock you in this room. Do not leave. No, you're not a prisoner. No, and I'm not going to go do shady stuff, but you can't leave this room. It's locked and it's heavily guarded. So, of course, Ren breaks out, and she gets Leo, and they go down, and she finds that mentor from the beginning of the book, and you find out that it's a huge love square. You have Ren, dad, and the mom. She had the twins. Or she had Ren in secret. And the mentor took it. And she's like, and then I heard the second baby cry, which means there was twins. And so there was 2 babies. And so what she did was the mother who was alive took the son and ran off. And then she left Ren behind to give to the dad. I can't remember why that, because I read this book a couple months ago. I can't remember exactly why they split things up, but they did. And that's one of the reasons why Grandma hates this girl, because her son out of nowhere shows up with a baby, this illegitimate baby that he didn't have with a wife, and he was promised to another princess of another territory, and then he shows up with a baby and ends that engagement. Doesn't matter. Also, throughout this book, Ren's uncle, I think his name's Locke, has been hailed a hero on her side of the wall, but on the other side of the wall, he's been hailed a villain, because he blew up a ton of shit in a lot of people. And you find out that he got manipulated with too much power. And he didn't mean to hurt anybody, but he got manipulated and he got power hungry, essentially, after having too much of it. And he did end up killing a lot of people. So depending on what side of the wall is how people viewed him. Her and Leo go and try and break out Julian. As they're breaking out Julian, surprise, surprise, some of those demon spirit zombies with the iron are down there under her father's control, and he's telling her like, you can't like seize them, and she puts on her ring. She's like, seize what? Who are you gonna go seize? You know what I am? I am my mother's daughter, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go find her ass, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna knock shit down. She leaves, she takes Julian and Leo, and they hop on the wall, and that's where the book ends, is they finally hop on the other side of the wall, and she's gonna go find her mom, the Corpse Queen. And whatever happens, I don't know. I'm sure the Corpse Queen is also evil, because it's always all these evil people. And she's even asking people like, why, who cares? Why do people act like this? And Julian's like, it's power. It's always power. Everyone wants power. And it drives me insane. It's just like in the world today. It's just like all these men want this strong power. And it's just like, I'm over it. Anyway, what I'm not over is this book. I love this book. 5 out of 5. The second book, called Bonesmith, comes out August 13th. I have pre-ordered it. I'm so excited to finish this. I loved Leo. I love his dynamic, because Julian and Ren would start bickering, and he's just like, what are we doing? Is this a lover's quarrel? Again, I haven't had a bath in weeks, but you guys have had time to make out. I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend Bonesmith. I got it in my fairy loot box. I don't know which one I got it last year. I wanted to say it was like early summer, late summer. I got this. I strongly recommend it to anyone. There are some overplayed tropes, like the long lost dead parents who are actually queens, making her the long lost princess of blah, blah, blah. Also a wall and banishment. So there is that. But I really, really enjoyed this book. And so I hope that you guys do too. I absolutely recommend it. I'm going to read the second one when it comes out. I'm ready to gobble it up. I'm ready to see how this plays out. And right now, Ren and Julian are not on good terms, because she seduced him and tied him up and then left him. So, I mean, I would be pissed too. But again, I totally recommend this book. 5 out of 5. Stars everywhere. I loved it. So let me know if you guys read it and if you guys liked it too. If you didn't, that's cool. If you liked it, let's be best friends. Also, I want book recs. I don't care what genre it is. I didn't used to do fantasy. I fell in love with fantasy, fell in love with romantasy. I'm falling in love with horror right now. I just finished an amazing horror film that once I get the exclusive edition, I'm going to share it with everyone and everything because it's probably the best book I read so far this year. And I loved it. The cover's gorgeous. The marketing on it was, but let me know. I would love to have some more book recs and I'll see you guys on the next one.